to the Selectmen's meeting of the Town of Weare, July 30th, 2018, starting at 20:07. We had a couple of non-publics beforehand for a hiring and a tax deed situation that started at 6:15, and it brings us to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and I will open the floor for public comment. Tom?
Tom Clow in North Weare Village. I told myself I wasn't going to come second guess you guys, but I just would like to strongly urge you to take a second look at your decision last week to demolish the gazebo. If you take a close look at it, it's not in, I don't think, as bad a shape as you'd want it to be in to demolish it. 2 or 3 years ago, we looked at it, and there was an issue with what Keith referred to as racking, which appeared to be twisting, and with the danger of it keeling over. We got a couple of estimates on fixing it. They were very, very different as far as how the approach went, so the board hired, the town hired John Turner, team engineer, to do a plan, and that's on file somewheres. But in the meantime, to make it safe enough for events to occur there, the highway department shored it up. They, under each of the areas where there was a support beam, they put some more support and leveled up the floor of it. And if you look at it now, I think that the racking issue is really a non-issue, because what we had noticed was a separation just below the eaves on the corner toward the stone building. And if you look at it now, if there's any opening there at all, you could barely put a piece of paper in it. So I think that shoring it up and leveling it took care of that danger. There definitely are the uprights on the railing are missing. There's probably 6 or 8 of them that have been knocked out. But those are just 2x2s that are upright. There's nothing fancy about them. They're just plain 2x2s. And in between them, there are blocks, very simple stuff to replace. The 2 columns that face the middle school, that on either side of the opening, the steps that face the middle school, need replacement. That's obvious. One of them is really rotted out and the other one is punky. The rest of them seem pretty solid. So, you know, you've got a situation where you've got to replace some rails, which is a non-issue as far as the job, and replace 2 of those columns. And I don't personally, not being an engineer, I'd say that there's really not a safety issue with it. It seems solid. It seems like that racking, it was at least stopped, and maybe even pushed back in place a little bit by having the highway department a couple of years ago shore it up. And so again, I really would ask that you reconsider. As you drive into town, what do you see? You know, even years ago when the middle school was first built, they were going to put their sign closer down to that end, and we worked with them to keep the sign back away so that that whole visual of coming into town and seeing the gazebo and the town common wouldn't be blocked by a letterboard sign. And they were very cooperative, moving it down where you see it now and actually making a decorative sign there. When you come in, you see the gazebo and the town common, the stone building, the town hall, all significant historical buildings. And even the gazebo has been there for 30 years. almost 30 years. So it's part of the history of the town now. And if it were absolutely a danger, I mean, of course, you have a responsibility to take care of it, but I think that, you know, with even a moderate expense, those two columns can be replaced, the rails can be replaced, and you really have got something that's very salvageable. It has all the electricity wired into it. If you replace it entirely with a different gazebo sometime, all that's gonna have to be done over. The whole area around it, the landscaping, the benches, the walkways up to it, are all integral parts of what you see there. See what else I've got here for you. Just, I think if you go ahead with that decision, I mean, it's like demolishing a town building. Certainly a town structure, it's not like taking down a fence. So if you go ahead with that decision, I would think at the very least that there should be a public hearing before it's done, because it has such a significant impact on the visual of the town as people come and go every day. Okay? So, enough said. There's one other thing, that SEDS report hasn't been posted yet, that's why you haven't heard anything about it.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Hi, my name's Keith Lacasse, Ridgeview Road. I just had a question. There's another agenda item that deals with facilities use. Are you going to be opening that for public to speak, or only for department heads?
I believe it was gonna be department heads only. That was
Okay,
my
well,
take.
we invited, I think, Keith, you represent WAC?
Yes.
Yeah, the Weare Athletic Club's here,
Okay.
football's here, field hockey's here, okay. So all the parties are here.
All right.
So
What's
if-
the board's feelings?
They come under that, isn't it?
Yeah. If all those departments wanna speak to that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll let you speak to that. That's an agenda item.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right. And we'll move on to department head committee items, field usage. Karen.
Am I first?
There that goes.
Do it anyway.
Right.
Karen Stogner, Park and Rec Coordinator. So I'm here tonight regarding an email that was circulated to everyone, I think, from Selectman Burdick.
Yeah, the email went from the resident to Sherry.
Yep.
Sherry shared it with
And
us.
Gretchen is here
Yep.
tonight, too.
And so we thought what better way to have a conversation than to not just have our conversation.
Sure.
Than play this back and forth game.
Absolutely.
And to invite everybody in the room.
Yeah, I'm
and
actually a
let's-
little embarrassed that we're here tonight.
And then let's talk about it, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we were.
Sure. I mean, I don't, you've all read the email, so I'm not sure if there are questions that I can answer for you. I'm not sure how we should approach it.
Well, it seems like there was a conflict of scheduling. Someone thought there was.
How does scheduling?
football
Can you
was
just
gonna have it
explain
all
how?
year
this-
round.
Can you schedule? Can you explain? Can you express how
How we
to-
do it?
How
Sure.
you schedule?
So we have every year in March, we have a field usage meeting where we invite all of the organizations, WAC, and I like to have all of the directors there because it makes life so much easier. Unfortunately, WAC, this year they had a good turnout. Gretchen wasn't there because of a scheduling conflict. So each organization submits a request for field usage time. We go over each one of those during our meeting and outline for everybody who's in attendance the hours, days, times, locations that everybody is looking for, and approve them and have discussion as far as, you know, who's going to use the field this time, can we borrow this time, and how we organize that. It's happened like that since I was on the park WAC board 10 years ago, and that's how we've done it since I took over as the coordinator.
So are all the different teams all getting equal time?
They have, so we have seasonally, you know, in the spring we have lacrosse and baseball and softball. In the fall we have football. Now we have field hockey. It's kind of a newer program. soccer. Is that it? You know, so each program requests their particular field time. So we keep adding programs, and there seems to be a field shortage as far as equal field time, so to speak. You know, football, and as that email indicates, I mean, Gretchen, because she sent the email, you know, indicates that football wants the football field from 8 to 8 every single day, and that's not the case at all. When, just pertaining to that email, when field hockey requested their field time, they asked for Inison Field for certain times of day. There was no mention of Bolton Field in their field usage request. You know, like I said, I'm surprised that we're standing here today, because this is something that if somebody had come to the meeting or any subsequent meeting from our March meeting, you know, like last year, we would have coordinated Bolton football field usage. We're not denying them field usage. That wasn't a request that was made this year. But again, there is a shortage of field space,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely. No,
for,
that's a given
and
Is
that,
this something that you guys can work out amongst yourselves instead of bringing it?
to us.
yeah,
to
that's, I said, I'm surprised we're standing here today, you know. I know last year Dennis Pelletier, who also helps Gretchen, reached out via email, and I sent it, you know, I don't make these arbitrary decisions. I send everything to the board, they make decisions, I don't get a vote on anything, and they say, yep, okay, well, they can use the field, you know, we share it with football. You know, and she made the point, okay, we spend a lot of money too on the fields, which is accurate. You know, so does football, so does, you know, so yeah, this is something that could be taken care of at a park meeting. We're happy to chat and.
Yeah, my only concern when I got the email was, and I sent it up to Naomi to share with everyone, is that I just want to make sure that you don't have one group of kids that are only getting 2 hours a week and the rest of the guys are getting 15 hours a week.
Sure, but like I said, you know,
They're all should be equal.
it's based on their field usage requests that we get in March that we approve at the beginning of the year. You know, if there's anything subsequent to that, like Dennis Pelletier last year emailed me and said, hey, is there any other field time that we can have? So, you know, and I don't want to be mediator between WAC programs. I feel like they can, amongst themselves, figure out if they have 2 teams wanting to use the field at once. I'm not going to mediate that. That's something that they can oversee themselves. I'm happy to go between WAC and football, because they don't necessarily communicate, have each other's contact information. So I think that's kind of what we did. I think Paul maybe had talked to somebody directly last year about giving up some of their space to offer to the other program. But, you know, that's a concern. You know, we lay this out in March. If you need additional time or additional field space, come to us and we will talk to you about it. I don't say, nope. You know, I'm asking the board what their thoughts are and stuff like that. And specifically the football field, because lacrosse plays on it, it takes a beating during the springtime. And it, you know, to let it rejuvenate itself, we even limit football. They don't use it for practices. You know, it's their games and you know, even lacrosse, we ask, okay, games only, don't be practicing on it.
Right.
Yet they do it anyways, you know, and football has been down there, you know, maintaining certain things and have seen them and asked them to come off the field. And we make that perfectly clear at the beginning of the season to each director. Your team shouldn't be practicing on here. You're digging it up, and then it takes forever for it to regenerate, and then it's junk for the next, you know, the next season that comes along. So, you know, park isn't shutting people out. We're more than open to, even by email, you know, if that's how we have to do it, if we're not in the cycle where somebody can get in there and address it right before their season starts, email me. We'll send out a blast and figure things out.
I have a question with is field hockey just Weare, or is it a feeder team for the high school?
It is Weare, but we open it up to the Henniker residents.
And
Okay.
that was another thing that I expressed to lacrosse, because they open it up too, reaching out to Henniker to see if there's any field space out there.
Well,
where,
years ago when we started football, I was one of the original people, and I think what's still carrying on now, because I did have a conversation with Paul, is we split the year, because the whole idea is to feed the high school was the thought behind it, as to how, I'm speaking football only, got originated. So what we did is there was also grumbling that why, if I live in Henniker, but you want me to play on this feeder team, did I not be able to, I always have to drive to Weare. And so that's where the whole month of August they play in Henniker somewhere for practice,
Sure.
and then they come to Weare when
Sure.
August,
Yeah.
September.
I had asked lacrosse to reach out to Henniker to see if they had field space. I don't know if that actually occurred. Do you have any idea? Yeah. Because we run into the whole practice thing. You know, we can give them Bolton soccer field, and it's hard doing that over at Inison because there's softball games going on all the time and stuff. But, you know, when we run into that and you're offering the program to a neighboring town, why not reach out to them and see if there's space over there that they're not using? You know, I know they have a lot of
You
soccer
work with
fields.
the schools for baseball.
No.
So when WAC wants to use it for baseball, there must be some coordination.
Yep, they have to request the field use from the school itself. I don't have any communication with the school about
Well, I'm
the
just
use of the
wondering
fields.
if, I haven't been to Center Woods in like 20 years, but we started football at Center Woods.
That was an
We
option.
played way down below.
Yep, that was
to
an option that I
practice.
asked lacrosse to do, is to reach
'Cause I
out
know
to the elementary school
The
because they have all that
practice, you
space.
practice the offense, defense, and certain things, special teams. I played field hockey 30 some odd years ago, and we did the same thing. We didn't use a whole field but if you could do a corner and a penalty and all these other things to prepare for the game. So you don't need a whole field. I'm just trying to see if we could use, if we reach out to Center Woods, and I don't know, like I said, I've never been out back, but there was always that field down below that we could practice.
Right.
in.
That was an option that I asked them to look into for additional field space. Like,
But
'cause
it's
I
up
don't
to the
coordinate
school to
that.
decide that. It's
Sure,
not-
because they have their own forms that they require to be filled out. When I was softball coordinator for WAC, that's.
I mean, I'm all
went
for
to them.
keeping every kid in the world busy. It keeps
Yeah,
them
yeah,
off the street,
absolutely.
so.
And we're not trying to shut down a program by not
Yeah.
offering
Yeah.
field time, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, I mean,
Is
it's,
Chuck's Field still available?
Well, back
don't
when we
know.
first started, I had a
Yeah.
brother-in-law that owned the field behind the bus barn. And when we did that, we actually played our first home game down there in the old cow field. We graduated from that and created Bolton Field.
do you guys
but
still use that field, the bus one? No?
Use the high school practice.
Oh,
so what we did is, if you go to the bus company and you go over the hill and down over the
Yeah,
woods
there's
and
a
down
field back
through,
there,
there's a
right?
big, huge field.
Yeah.
And we used to do practice there, but I mean, that's something they approached the landowner with. I mean, that's
exactly.
what I did.
You're talking
Yeah,
insurance.
you're talking a private property,
problems,
you're
yeah.
talking,
I don't know how they would
yeah.
get around.
And I think
that.
it's also conserved now where it wasn't before. There's like conservation, conservancy on it, and it's just, it's probably not allowed and not used because you had to mow it really thick, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Cars went down there, just, I don't think it's gonna be used that way,
Mhm.
but,
You know, and this past park meeting, John can attest to, we talked about going over to look at East Road.
Yeah.
And what's happening over there. Fortunately, we got rained out for the meeting we were gonna have and haven't rescheduled it yet. But it's a little too late for a CIP request for that one, only because it's gonna take a lot of work to get people in there to see what needs to get done and give
so
pricing
you do
and stuff,
your
but-
field requests in March, and,
Yep.
I know for football, they don't even get their schedule till just about now.
But
So what-
because it's a continuation
Right, that's
season
what I'm
to
asking.
season, it's very similar. They ask for pretty much the same thing year after year, knowing, you know, okay, and you know when you're going to have your practices. You know your games are on Saturdays and Sundays. So I see it with
Yeah.
every organization.
no,
you
I'm
know, they
just-
have very similar requests year after year.
Because there's got to be overlap with the amount of kids that are playing all
There-
the various sports. Got to
well,
be overlap.
There is
So you
now.
must have to regroup at a different time for fall versus spring.
Well, now the field hockey's been added.
Mhm.
You know, I think originally you guys were using the high school. That's gone by the wayside. Okay. You know, last year you ended up using the gazebo for some age groups. Bolton, I think we permitted half and half one night and then half the other night. And then a change to the baseball field because you guys had seeded and sodded, so, and then, I don't know, where else did you guys, yeah, oh,
How many kids play? I mean, is it like 4th through 8th, 5th through 8th?
It's kindergarten. Now,
You're lucky, no kidding.
middle school has
That's
just
cool.
granted an middle school team,
mm,
so we're still K through 8, but we don't have as many 7th and 8th
Okay.
graders.
I didn't even know we did that.
Mm.
Cool.
yeah, but
No, I didn't know.
it's really grown, I
Yeah.
think, over the past couple years, so.
Yeah.
It's a little something for everybody.
I myself would like to see this handled at park level, at the park committee level. But since you're all here, if you guys want to speak to it as department or committee members and heads, I'll definitely accept it, but I would like to see it handled outside of here.
Absolutely.
That's my own feeling, but I don't know what the board feels.
I just,
I think it's, before it gets out, it's handled amongst themselves. They don't need an extra.
Like I said, I mean,
people running it up.
everybody came here tonight, but like I said, so. if you
They
wanna
know
speak.
what the teams need and whatnot.
Right, we certainly don't.
They should
No.
handle it.
Okay.
so we're gonna all get, you guys are all gonna get together and redo the schedule so everyone gets pretty much equal time?
Well, okay, so, like I said, reach out to me, come to a park meeting,
Or a WAC meeting.
or a WAC meeting, yes. Although, my board, I guess we could come to you guys.
No, we changed our meetings so that we can attend.
Right, but ours are supposed to be
Televised.
videoed here. So, yeah, to make any sort of formal, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's a matter of getting hold of me, I get a hold of them, or we all get together and figure out dates, times. Paul's always a phone call or a text message or an email away about coordinating. And again, I'm not gonna coordinate WAC sport to WAC sport.
Oh, no.
If I have two groups from WAC requesting Inison field time, they can coordinate it.
Right.
I'm happy to go ahead, do what you want, and you work out the times that you want to be there, you work out the times that you want to be there. I shouldn't have to be mediator.
So, representing WAC, would you like to say anything?
Saw it on the agenda. So
Okay.
just came down. and-
Yeah.
Paul?
That would be the simplest way to work it out, instead of having
Gretchen,
5
did you
extra
want-
fingers in the
You want
pie.
that? You want to say
Gretchen,
something?
you all set?
I guess we can go that approach if that's the best way to handle it.
I just don't see why the selectmen have to get involved in
Yeah.
Right, I mean,
field
we-
scheduling.
My question, I'm sorry, my question was just, is there some sort of written contract between the football association, because we've been kicked off the field, not just field hockey, but when it wasn't really necessary. So I'm just curious as to if we have no rights really to use it, because when it's granted.
Oh, I think,
We should go to the microphone.
yeah,
Come up to
yeah,
the
we
microphone.
need people at the microphone too, so all this can be heard, so
We can
Paul,
handle it that level.
all right. I mean, if it can't be handled at that level, then
back.
we can revisit. But it sounds like everybody kinda does wanna work with each other. I think it's just a miscommunication, my own personal, but again, I don't know that for a fact. But again, if it can be handled outside, I'd be in favor of that. Board?
I agree.
Okay. All right,
Anybody else?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Karen, don't disappear
Oh.
yet, though.
Oh.
Don't disappear, okay.
Okay.
On another note, I was at the park on Sunday, yesterday, and I think there has to be a little bit of supervision from what I saw. Everybody was standing in the guard shack, carrying on, hooting and hollering, giggling, talking, whatever, taking selfies, playing with a camera, and I asked, I was getting a sticker, they only, well, you gotta pay $20. I says, I get a senior discount. No, you don't. I says, yes, I do. I gave him my driver's license. I said, you want the registration for my car also? But, no, you get a free one for your boat, never get the car. So, you missed revenue, you know, anyway for the car. Actually, it was my wife's car, but, and I asked about, well, they're all standing there, and the two of the guards are there, and I says, anybody at the, down at the beach, any lifeguard today? And they go, well, and the kid's standing with a backpack. I don't know who the young man was, but he said, I'll be back down there in a few minutes. And I put my boat in the water, was out there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I went back and forth up at the end of the lake and back, never got in that chair.
Okay. They don't always stand in the chair. But I'm
Well,
sure
there's
you're, I'm
nobody-
sure
but
you're.
I'm looking at, I made a point to look, and
Okay.
there's nobody with a red shirt. I came close to the, the swim area, and there's nobody with a red shirt standing out there.
Okay.
So, I just think that, they're all carrying on, and they don't know what their procedure is as far as handing out stickers. Like I said, I was ready to get a sticker for the car, and they never even gave it to me.
Okay.
Just give me one for the boat. It's like.
Did you
that's-
rectify that situation?
That's revenue
after?
missed, and I think all of them standing there and they're talking about their goings on and getting mad at other customers that came in because they were there at 8:35 to pull their boat out, with the parks open till 9 and carrying on, and how they ripped open a package and threw a sticker at somebody. And talking like that, and somebody standing out there, a customer, they had no idea what it was.
Sure.
It does not bode well for, and all the attendants are all standing inside the cage shack.
Okay.
I just think that's something that maybe.
There used to be an adult.
I was just
There
gonna
always
say
used to be an
that.
adult up there.
There always used to be an adult up there, but we can't find anybody to take those positions.
So,
Kathy was always up there working
Right.
for
Yeah,
very
It
little
always
money.
seemed to go very well.
Yeah,
I mean, we
so-
didn't have the complaints that we're having
So
now.
I
Right
just
now, we
think
had
that
various complaints as
somebody's not
well.
watching the store, we're losing revenue to other parks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chase Park's losing revenue. So,
Well, the town is losing revenue.
I can say, yeah,
so,
'cause
yeah.
we talked about that,
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
That
we ought
park
to
is
make,
nothing
I
out
think
of it.
that's something that
We
maybe
get nothing out of it.
you ought to do is make sure that something gets on the warrant this year, so that some money that's collected can come towards. the
Yeah,
town
that'd be
for
Just to change that revenue
to
stream.
change that revenue stream, so someone goes to a special account for that, but you guys have to put a warrant article in, so you can.
Well, they recommend to us to put the warrant.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, we
But I
we
mean,
did
you can
before and it
recommend-
They
didn't,
did before, it didn't
Draft it.
fly.
it didn't make it.
Well, it's,
When was
try it
that?
again, not to do it one and done.
It's been a while.
I mean,
It
you
was-
gotta keep,
Yeah, I was
2
gonna say,
years
it's
ago.
not really legal.
you gotta keep going after it, you just can't. So I think that's, maybe that's that way you can.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a problem with the wording. I think Naomi had sent
There
it
wa- I
to
think
the
it was.
attorney for
Yeah, there was some reason
review,
why it wasn't.
but I didn't
don't
get
know.
any response back as to what needed to be fixed.
With the wording, tried it last time.
Well, we would have we should have refixed the wording and not just
Well,
scrapped it, I
think
guess.
part of it was
Right.
I'd have to
date.
do some research.
Yeah, it was on like the, I don't know, when I came in to review the ballot, it was on the like temporary one, and then we went to the town meeting and it wasn't on there anymore.
Yeah, I think it's
So-
because it was.
The draft one?
It was in the draft, but I don't think it was worded right, and then we couldn't get it submitted in time to.
So I'm in total agreement with you that the funds
I know that's hard to
generated
get
over
people
there.
up there. but
It is
it's-
very hard to get people up there. We don't pay a lot of money.
No.
But we've got the, and on the other hand, especially with the lifeguards, you get the responsibility that, when they're there.
Yeah, and the lifeguards are permitted a 15-minute break every hour.
Mm-hmm.
And there
So,
was two there, but they're both down at the.
well, one was on duty, one probably was not.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
have them scheduled
No, I don't know, I
simultaneously.
mean, I saw two of them standing there, so I mean.
Sure.
um,
Yep.
I just-
No, I'll address it with them. Again, if I have to
And then
spend an
just,
hour down there.
just to let you know too, I know you're aware of the petition about the park. Well,
Oh,
there's been
yeah, yeah.
discussion.
They want-
They've requested a meeting with us on the 13th, just if you,
Okay,
just
yeah, a number
FYI.
of them came to our meeting,
Yeah.
last time about making it resident
Resident
only.
only, yeah.
And I know we've had that discussion before too. So-
We did at the public hearing to change fees. Remember, there was a discussion about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if John, had
I
you,
brought it forth before the board.
okay,
Ricky requested the chairman of the park committee to come in at either this meeting, next meeting,
okay.
to tell the board what they are looking for as far as the deeds and will and all that.
Boy, I don't even know if we know.
Right.
That's-
Well, I got the deeds.
Yeah.
I struggling to find the will.
I mean,
Or,
the question is what really is public?
yeah.
Right.
Well, I know
What's
that.
the meaning?
We're gonna define.
Yeah.
Well, the other, and the other part of that is if you have people who have, summer rentals, they're not.
Well, we treat the summer
Whether or
rental
not that
people as
they're
long as they have
eligible.
a rental agreement as a resident over there, so, if they're there for a week or, yeah. As long as they have their rental agreement that shows where they're staying on the lake and stuff like that, but,
I mean, that can always be the other issue.
and I think Naomi had mentioned, there's, or maybe it was John, about the, no, it had to have been John, about the other campgrounds in town.
Cold Springs.
Yeah,
Springs and
that
Autumn Hills.
may have people, I don't know, I don't think we have ever addressed anything like that, but those places, don't they have pools?
Yeah, they got pool.
I know, yeah, it's, I mean, it's not the same
Yeah.
as a
It's not a
beach,
beach,
but,
yeah.
And you
Right.
get, was it Wildwood? That's a Coast City's place. It's now what, condos?
No,
Yeah.
you got New Boston on your mind.
Yeah,
Wildwood,
Wildwood.
No, well, what's the one up there?
Boston.
Autumn.
Autumn,
Seasons.
All seasons, that's it, yeah, Wildwood.
oh,
that's
All
it.
Seasons is, yeah, in town,
But
and they're pretty close, but
They're 9-month residents right there, so,
Yeah.
Right.
so, to me, that's good enough.
that's a resident, yeah.
It's a resident,
For all
yeah,
intents
they're
and
paying taxes
purposes.
on their plots, so. But anyways, all right, anything else for Karen?
No.
I don't think so.
Tonight, thank you.
All right, guys, thank you.
Good luck.
I think we'll be able to work things out.
I think, I mean, it's all for,
Well,
it's, we're all
Paul's an
adults.
expert
It's-
at it. He can.
I
Negotiate.
can't
Yeah,
believe
you can negotiate. Get your negotiator's hat on.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you, Paul.
Yep, leave it open, thanks.
All right,
Moving right
behind
along.
us. We'll go to the approval of the meeting minutes of 7/16/18. Okay.
Not very exciting for the press tonight, though.
Goodness.
Lee went to Sunapee, so I figured
Oh,
might as well. I mean, why stay home?
That's right.
come down, yeah, you haven't been down here in a
Come down
while,
here.
so.
No, I haven't.
We usually end up with
I've
him.
been doing, Huntington and Hillsborough School Board,
Oh,
so.
Okay, anything on page 1? 2?
Wait, wait.
Yes,
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Touch it from my, can't find my minutes. There we are.
fifth line down, in the swearing in of new officers,
Mm-hmm.
just add the word in front of Weymouth,
Okay.
and then the 10th line down,
Mm-hmm.
I think is session.
Yeah, not secession.
There's a stutter.
That's okay.
And that's about as far as I got.
Okay. 3? Four? Five?
Let me ask you this, did you get to them? I know it was late today. You can table them if you haven't gotten to them.
no, that's the first thing.
All right, does the board want to table them for now?
Well, we're almost
I
through it.
haven't read them. I
It's
haven't gone
It's
beyond
entirely up
page
to you
2.
guys.
What's the board's feeling? Want to table them?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll table them.
I took that from Jan's response after we're going through, so.
What's that? Oh,
Okay, so we'll scratch
All
that.
right, so we move on to the manifest. I don't know if I did. I don't want to read this one.
Oh,
It's a big one. It's gonna hurt.
end of the month.
It's gonna hurt.
No, it's a bond payment for the school.
Oh, the
Yeah.
bond payments for the school. Yeah, that's-
I'll move the order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payables checks dated August 2nd, 2018, as included in the following manifest. A payroll manifest of $55,825.44. A fire department payroll manifest of $5,130.53 for July payroll. Accounts payable manifest of $86,678.74. A Weare School District manifest payment of $1,150,000. And a John Stark Regional Accounts Payable manifest of $700,000 for a total of $1,997,634.71. That's why it hurt.
Yep.
The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at the July 16th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. A payroll manifest of $61,145.93 for weekly and monthly payroll checks dated 7/26. Accounts payable manifest of $58,145.94 for checks dated 7/26. As there is no Selectmen's meeting for August 6th, further order the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated August 9th to be estimated to be about $75,000. Furthermore, to order the treasurer to sign up to the amount of $60,000 for accounts payable that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting of August 13th without incurring late charges or interest. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second, are you winded after reading all
Could be.
That was a long one.
Any discussion?
Well,
All in favor? Oh,
Wait,
oh, did you want discussion? Okay, do you want discussion?
yeah, well, I wanted to know if there was any problems with any of the.
No.
Okay, all right.
The only thing I didn't sign was, because I don't feel it's ethical when my brother has a check or anything in there, I won't sign it.
Okay, that was my reason.
That's why I don't sign it.
Okay.
Is there
I
three on
wanted to
everything?
know, because I knew he
Yeah.
had done it.
There's
so
three
I
on
didn't-
everything.
With the exception of 1 and 10. All in favor?
aye.
Okay. All right, do you wanna make a motion on your minute taker?
Yes. I'll move that we hire Hannah Smith at the rate of $15 an hour to be the minute taker for the Board of Selectmen. Is there a second?
Second,
Effective
To start effective, when do you say?
August 13th.
August 16th.
August
August
16th.
13th.
August 13th?
You can do it immediately, and then that's the first meeting
Yeah,
anyway.
okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Uh,
effective
Second.
immediately. All in favor?
Aye.
There is one question in the box. Do you want to handle that before your report?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. It was on an intent to cut with a bond.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was on my list anyway.
You know,
Yeah.
Oh.
It was the, email that you got?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
the, yeah,
Already
me.
signed it.
Yeah, where are they?
This is the one spot. Great.
Oh, no, that isn't it.
Anyway, so it is,
So there's a large logging job that, I think you're talking about on Jewett Road,
Yeah.
yes.
that you got,
You got a check in, my brother had a check in.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry.
that you got, information from the DPW.
Okay.
The bond is really up to you, but he's expressed his reasoning for the bond, and, the amount of the bond is, again, up to you. All I can do is recommend to you his reasonings and to why. The intent to cut's right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right in front
because
of me.
I was looking for it. I copied I printed out the letter, but I did not have that, but I know, so I don't know what your discussion is on that.
Well, it's just sitting here, everything's here, it just hasn't been signed, that's all. Because it was questioned about the bond, that's all.
Well, part of the reason, I think, is, I think there's a big discrepancy is where the concern comes. Cause you can't take 0 to 15,000 and then 0 to 10,000. That seems like an awful lot of material leaving.
Yellow bird 0 to 15.
I mean, I don't know much about how you measure.
35,000.
Does that seem like an awful lot to you?
No, actually more. 310,000.
Well, I've never seen an intent that goes 0 to 10,000, and they
Yeah.
all put in a.
Put in a number usually.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, you got one here that says 0 to 15,000. Then you got the top one says 10 to
35.
no
351,000.
351,000.
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
That's
I'd
a
like-
lot of board fee.
I'd like to see some firmer numbers on that, plus also too, is I'd like to see the road that we have actually
Who's the?
on there.
I mean, like Benji said, we just spent $200,000 paving that road, we definitely don't want a road.
Yeah. I
250
mean,
for that one, and then they're gonna have issues on, when they come down on
Perkins Pond.
It's gonna be
Perkins
another
Pond.
problem, they are trying
Yep.
to
Right.
soft
But-
pavement.
The road isn't even spelled correctly. So,
On this.
yeah, I'd like to have that cleared up, so.
Jewett.
As far as the 0 to 250 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
It's always been an estimate of max.
what's the forester? I mean, has there been a forester that's gone out and looked at it? That's what I'd like to see.
But with
See
that-
if they're within the numbers of the.
With that being a brand new road, I would like to see it bonded.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. And Benji's right.
Yeah, both sections, because Perkins has been paved as well.
Yeah, Perkins Pond was done
It
too.
has been topped, so I'd like to see that, a bond on that, on both those roads.
'Cause we're gonna have damage for sure if they're hauling out.
Well, the other thing you, is up to you, that, you, at 351,
Seems like a lot.
so, my thought is,
Yeah.
Benji's not around,
Why don't we,
should we invite the
Joe?
logger in?
yeah?
And invite Benji in on, I mean, there's a concern there, but there's, I mean, you look at the pulpwood, you look at, I mean,
Benji didn't see
Has
this.
Benji seen that?
he has,
He has.
he's
Yeah,
seen
he-
this.
He said in his letter, you know, there's between 140 and 160 trail loads coming out of there.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Is there that much up there?
I mean, I guess,
Well,
I
if you
don't
go
know.
with the high numbers,
Yeah.
Go with high numbers, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess I don't personally care to see the logger as far as,
Mhm.
but I would wanna see those numbers, the pencil sharpened
Tightened up.
quite a bit on those
Yeah.
numbers,
Yeah,
Well,
and a bond.
I mean, they're taking out whatever the owner wants them to take out, so I mean,
I mean, you take 300,000 feet of pine.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing it by the trailer load, you're probably getting
6,000-7,000,
maybe 6.
6 to
If it's
7,000
decent, you
deep.
can maybe get 7 on a
Yeah.
load.
yeah,
You multiply that out.
even if you give them 8, you're still gonna have a lot.
You'd
Yeah.
go loaded probably with 8.
So, but like I said, I would definitely want a bond on those roads, and I wanna see that cleaned up. Is that acceptable to the board? or-
Yeah.
So what type of a
definitely.
bond, do you have a bond in your mind? Or,
As far as the
I
number?
go with what Benji recommended.
Yeah.
100,000.
On each. He just put on Jewett Road, right?
No, I think he had.
No.
Did he mention- I didn't-
Had I think it was 100.
Mountain and Perkins?
Yeah, I don't
I
think,
think he,
Mountain, Perkins, Hewitt?
I think
I think he wanted 100,000 total, but I don't have
Perkins
that
Falls, I
letter with me.
believe.
Oh, we
yeah, it just says, the letter just talks about, it's come to my attention that a large logging job is being done this summer. He said, as you all know, I am pro logging. Log trucks do not weigh any different than gravel or paving. You guys all saw this, and then it, says just alone, this year, the town spent nearly $200,000 in pavement alone on Mountain Road and another 50 on Perkins Pond. This is in addition to the 250 that they already spent last year on the reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
So with this information, he's proposing that the board require the logging to post a bond of no less than $100,000. This amount would cover any moderate damage if it were to occur. The road is in perfect condition at this time. If you would like to take a ride, he urged you to do so. This way, if any damage is caused, it would be more than just my word on what the condition of the road was prior to traffic.
I think we really would be better
Yeah.
than just going up and looking, go and take a few photos where they're coming out and at the bottom,
postpone
at the bottom of Mountain Road where they come onto Perkins Pond, that should be all photographed.
Yeah.
It's all new, so
No,
when we photograph it, we
no
won't have to
question
worry.
about that. And then,
I'm not sure where they're coming
postpone
out.
until the next meeting and have Benji here. We can-
Benji's not gonna be here.
No, he's gone.
No, he's
Oh,
gone
yeah.
until, he's back the week after that, the 20th.
Oh, okay.
So it would be the
Sorry.
27th. No, he's gone for 3 weeks.
So, I mean, I'd like to see that application cleaned up too myself.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what do you wanna do, 100? Is that, or you wanna do 150?
I'd say 150, because you got 3 roads you're gonna deal with, Jewett Road,
Mountain Road
coming
and
up,
Perkins
Mountain
Pond.
Road, and Perkins Pond.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of money out through there, so,
What do you think, 150?
Yeah,
what do you think, John?
Yeah, you know, if you gotta dig it up and redo it, it ain't
Redo
gonna
it.
take long to chew it up.
Ain't gonna, yeah, it isn't gonna take long to shoot up 150,000.
I look for that in a motion.
Make a motion that we require a bond for Jason Curtis, I guess, logging. I guess that's how his name is spelled. I can't quite make it out, for the Mark the Scoto property on Jewett Road, a road bond in the amount of $150,000 for any damages that may be incurred due to the logging operation, Mountain Road, Jewett Road, and Perkins Pond Road, as they come in and out.
Is there a second to the motion?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you wanna hold that or put it back in here?
Give me the envelope, I'll hold on to it. Is there others in there?
There's one other one in there.
No.
It's got signatures.
Should we make a secondary motion as far as having the logger clean that permit up?
No, I can email them to explain. So I have, in the box, was there a voucher request for the
For,
trustees?
yes.
Okay.
signed.
Part of that, is it all signed?
Yes.
Okay, then this goes hand in hand with it, because this is a, capital reserve request for the air packs, and it's, required testing of newly acquired CBAs and face mask piece bags of $1,641.49, and I think it's already included on that. Do you see that?
It's, no, this isn't the one, it's a signature missing on that, the copy.
So you
it's
need
this one
to,
right here, yep.
so you need to, make a motion to, approve the
Some of that here.
expenditure from the capital reserve fund.
It's a total of $24.94.
I have 1641.49. That's what's in the account.
Oh,
1641.49
that's not what we have.
to Amazon for face mask bags. Hang on.
That's not what we have here.
I didn't think I saw it.
No, we have,
I'll let you look at that.
we have, a 328, a 336. To Amazon, we have 174 and a 336. That's it. Compare.
174, wait a minute.
All right, what's that? You got 174?
174.34.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You've got another one,
That same thing.
and then you have,
Must be the next page.
yep.
Because 174.34 is here.
Industrial protection,
Industrial protection, yeah.
that's 1467.15.
15, those three are here.
And then,
Same thing.
this is a different one,
No,
1,047.
it's not. It's two different invoices.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's when you get the 14.
Oh, okay, there you go, there you go.
So all of those are on here, but in three different vouchers.
Yeah.
Listed, because it's vendors.
Okay, so it's all set
So you
then?
need to, no, you gotta make the motion to,
But the numbers jive?
the numbers due
Yeah,
on the
okay.
receipts.
Alright. What was the final number?
Jack's got it in his hand, he can,
You wanna make the motion, Jack?
Make a motion that we allow the, fire department to take money out of the department head capital reserve, fire department capital reserve fund for, an amount of $1,641.49 for required testing of newly acquired SCBA and face mask piece, bags.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
30. All right, I'm gonna hand down the table, doesn't need to make a motion, but there's a cemetery deed, we had somebody purchase a cemetery deed, so there's a notation that 5 of you need to sign down there. I also have a tax collector's deed that, it was part of a payment plan that we had entered into, and if you recall, the payment plan indicates when you sign it and gets recorded at the registry that we can, if you default on your payment, that we can take it for taxes, and so that's the request that's being made here on a tax deed. The payments have been missed.
That has to be moved.
No, you don't have to move it, it's just signatures.
Fine.
Are you checking signatures?
That I am.
Thank you. I'll move on to the, reports. I think you guys all got them. It's gonna be part of the report. It's gonna be the bell tower. We'll go down through the, not the building one, we'll go down the other one. As you know, some of these haven't changed. Just as a reminder again, I'm finishing up gathering the information for St. Jean so he can have all of the properties that you already indicated that you want to go to auction. And he needed the card and the deed, and we're in the middle of doing that, and we'll send it to him so he can start his advertisement for the auction, which will be October 27th.
Has anybody come forward to make good on that before, or some of the properties we've sent?
Well, there's been a couple of phone calls, but there's nobody showing up with any money.
Can I bring something up, because somebody said something to me, and I just thought about it. I stopped one day and dropped some stuff off down at the food pantry, and they have no place to go at this point.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we can in a minute, okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah. finish.
Obviously the master plan update committee started upstairs. I don't know if they're gonna try to meet tomorrow as well. I got them introduced. Look like they're pretty much on their way. Courtney is going to do, or has offered to do the minutes, so you'll probably see those minutes. We'll see if we can put them up. We'll create a subcommittee for that and maybe put them up on the website under the board of selectmen, I would guess. It would have to be that, so that you can see the minutes there. I did speak with Sean today, the ACO position. We had 0 applicants again. So he was gonna try to
We're gonna
run
have
it.
to take turns, I guess, doing it. Jack 1 week, me 1 week, Naomi 1 week.
No.
You don't want me to do it.
So I just, Sean said he would put it out again, another time. I'm not sure. We've ran it and ran it and ran it. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I mean, who's taking care of this now? Anybody?
When you call
PD.
I think the PD's doing it, and then I think SPCA's got some role in it. Harassment and personnel, we're still working with that. As I indicated before, there are some changes that we'd like to make to the personnel policy, and they're gonna be just recommendations. You guys can look at them, just to clear up some things. There is some, one spot's a little fuzzier than another spot, and I think it would just be cleaner. And at the same time, I do have the draft from Primex, so I'd like to incorporate it, because it is a schedule, not a schedule, it's a appendix section as far as the harassment one. You probably followed my pattern of vacation. When we're off on Monday, I like to make a long weekend, so I'm gonna try to do that again. Friday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm gonna skip you over now to the buildings. Last week during public comment, we had a discussion about, we already had a contractor that was basically vetted, has done some work for us on the bell tower. I did reach out to the Walker Roofing, and they've supplied me with a new bid. And they've also supplied me with a certificate of insurance, right here. And the conversation that I had with them is, if traditionally he works with a third, and a third, meaning a third up front, a third midway through the process, and a third after it's been approved. So what he'd like to do is, if we would cut a check for a third, which is $17,700, then he would put us in the schedule, and he would guarantee us the job done before winter. So, with that being said, the total, but now this includes some of the work of the rot. The scope of the work on the town hall was, I think I sent it all to you, I don't have to repeat it.
Yeah.
But part of it did talk about repairing the crown molding on the backside, because it said if they were gonna be done when they weren't there, it was gonna be more money, because they've already got the lift there. So that is, he gave us an estimate there of $5,000, and we'll see where $5,000 takes us. Now, if you remember, the warrant article took the $49,000 and put it into the same account as the other. So it's a little more than, well, not quite, it's about 49,000, let me think. It's about 48,107 for the bell tower. Additionally, he's put in 5,000 to start some of the rod project. So we're looking at 17,700, and I would ask that you take and allow the 17,700 to come out of the capital reserve to go to Walker Roofing so that we can get it in the schedule, cause it's gonna be August on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said he would, and he said he'd like to do that, so I'll pass this down if you want, but you'd have to make a motion to spend the 17.7 out of the, government building and maintenance fund.
And again, the reason of why we're awarding it, is we received no other bids, to do the bell tower work after the taxpayers, moved to have it done. We did extend it, we put it out twice, still no replies, so we reached out to the original, contractor that gave us a guesstimate, best guesstimate, and, he sharpened his pencil up, gave us a current, number, and, that's who we're gonna use, so we can get the wheels rolling on that.
And,
Now, that includes the separate number for the painting too, right? Or does it?
yes, on the bottom,
For
yes.
everything.
Okay.
If you look
On the
at his
bell
bid,
tower.
there
Yeah,
is,
Just painting.
there is painting, and which brings me to another one. I didn't ask him about painting the barns on East Road. I can call him in the morning, because we do have his certificate of insurance.
Right.
If he could send over a couple, the discussion we had was maybe he could send over a couple, because we've already got the material.
Right.
So if he could send over a couple, we could get the Gordon Brown, the buildings done
Yeah.
too, because we already have the supplies. So I can call and ask him about that.
Yeah, let him know that we have the material.
Let me ask you though, if he's okay to send 2 people, I don't know the cost, and if I wait 2 more weeks to come back,
Well,
Can we do it?
I don't know what he would, I don't know what they'll charge.
I guess
I
let's,
guess, see what.
because he
Right.
might do it
that
the
much.
same time he's here and send
Right.
some over there, so we could do
Yeah,
that.
send a couple
Let's
guys
work,
there.
let me get some information and bring that back
I-
to you.
And I
Okay.
did contact, Jeff Brown, and he's supposed to get back to me tomorrow,
Okay,
with his insurance company, which he's not insuring, anybody now on his payroll because he's not.
got anybody? Okay.
But he said he'll look and see what his insurance company would give for a one-time,
Okay.
job.
Also, didn't you have a question about the spires?
Yeah, and actually,
To you,
you and I had the
I-
conversation.
I had
Oh, and you
six.
followed up.
Yeah.
But Sherry met with him and Tom originally, and it included the spires.
Yeah.
And I think I had a conversation with one more of you that thought
me.
that the fence,
Yeah.
when he talked about the fence,
The
these are the
fence is-
posts of the
it's
fence,
post, yeah.
so.
Yeah, I had that
But Sherry
conversation.
confirmed that when they had the conversation that it was included.
Okay.
So maybe we'll get one more thing done. I'm not sure if you want to address it now or not, the whole discussion of the gazebo. That's on the list here. Do you wanna?
We can do that after you're done.
Okay,
You wanna make
that's
that
really, I
motion on
don't,
this?
Let's do the,
Make a motion that under the Department of Capital Reserve request that we, take $17,700, a third of a payment out of the government building and maintenance fund to go to Walker Roofing, the third down for the work to be done on the bell tower and the rod at the town hall.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. Security camera project, we did get 2 bids, that I just have to kind of put them together, cause they're a little,
They're quite
they're
drastic.
different, yeah. So I think I would tabulate them just so you guys can look at them and do that. Hopefully we'll have it so you can award it on the 13th, I'm sorry. And I'm hoping the roof for the safety complex is out to bid. And those are scheduled to be due in on the 13th as well, so,
Somebody
Hopefully.
made a comment to me that they must have saw it in the paper
yeah.
and said it was very confusing the way it was written, because they didn't know if they wanted, it looked like you were gonna put asphalt down and then a metal roof over it. And
Oh, I
said,
just
"No,
wanted
it's
2
No, I
quotes.
didn't read it.
separate accounts."
Yeah.
I didn't read it in the thing.
It was
I just said
exact,
two
you know how you
separate
guys saw it? That's what is
Exactly.
printed in the paper.
Hmm.
So it's, I guess, how you want to speed read, but,
accounts. Yeah,
it was due that, so hopefully maybe we can get those done. I know that I did speak to Benji about the sidewalk for the stone building, and if,
No,
I think he's gonna
right,
do it when he gets back, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
He tried to leave enough things to keep them busy, but
Mhm.
that, he wanted to supervise, so.
Would,
What about the grant for that? Have you checked with Christensen, whatever his name is?
Oh, the Homeland?
Yes.
No, I wanna see what I haven't looked at the numbers, cause
You'd
we
have to
do,
go in.
we do, no, he's part of Homeland Security, that's what she's asking.
Yeah, but you'd have to go right to Chris Pope.
No, I could ask him if there's any available.
yeah,
If there's
right,
nothing
right.
available, I don't need to go to Chris
Yeah.
Pope,
Right, right.
but,
I mean, if we can get some type of reimbursement, it would be better, than nothing.
yeah, we have, if you remember though, we do have some money, and like I said, I don't even know what the bottom line is, You encumbered some last year, so there's some sitting out there. That needs to be, what doesn't get spent goes back by December 31st. And that was written into the bid that they had to have it done. Those that bid knew that it had to be done by December 31st. So, I know, I saw that. But I will ask that question. It'll raise a, I don't know there is, but doesn't hurt to ask. Talk's cheap. So at this point, A, we can talk about the gazebo, or B, Sherry has had a conversation with the food pantry.
All right.
So I don't know if you
Can we
want
touch a couple of these?
Oh, absolutely, sorry.
Would the same individual that did the safety complex update mezzanine be interested in doing the town office roof in the winter? It's an inside project.
Oh, the same one that we did?
No, the one we haven't,
No,
we
the
were
one,
gonna have.
the one we were gonna have look at for the your office roof, as far as repair and painting.
I guess I can ask.
Yeah, for a winter project, I'm thinking.
The-
Ceiling, right?
Yeah,
What is
the
it?
ceiling and the walls.
Who would do that?
I said ceiling.
Yeah,
No, there's one-
No,
line seven.
let's, so you're talking 7, you're not talking climbing in the attic?
No, I'm talking 7.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No, because he'd already said no to climbing in the attic.
Right, that's why I was.
No, I'm saying it's 7 for the winter.
Who's that? Who's gonna be doing it?
Dave.
Has he got insurance?
He's insured through us.
He's an employee of
He's an
ours.
employee.
I mean, I can ask, the answer might be no, I don't know.
Yeah, if it is, it is. But I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
it might be a good winter project for him to put on his docket. I don't know, where it's kind of inside and not really a whole lot of, you know. No, I know that he already said no to doing the actual.
He's not going through the attic.
Right,
no.
number 6. He doesn't want.
Yeah.
He's not interested, which is fine.
Okay.
And then are we doing anything with 8 as far as the oil tanks?
I haven't looked into it any further.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Just a
I
thought.
guess we're gonna have to build a containment wall, right?
Yeah,
If you put 2 of them in there,
Yeah.
some kind of containment. Yeah,
it would be over 500 gallons.
right. At that point, would be a.
And then I think the other thing is, what is it now? Is it oil now? Is it gas?
It's oil.
We have oil right now.
Oil.
So you'll have to get somebody licensed to do that.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just thinking,
Now, where is the boiler in relationship to where the tanks would be?
it would be awful close.
Yeah,
Okay,
The only spot we had left.
okay, that's fine. I just didn't know if it was one room
It's
to
right
another.
outside the kitchen,
Yeah.
so it's down under.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like you go down in,
Yep.
to the boiler. And I don't think you can put the boiler and the oil in the same room.
no.
Yeah.
Right, I think,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I just didn't know if that was something we still wanted to look
Depends
into
on
or
how
not.
much space you got.
Well, there's enough space.
'Cause, I
My
mean,
thought,
You figure you put an oil tank and a boiler or a heating system in a house, and it's right in the same.
yeah, because my thought was if you build a containment, I think.
public building.
I don't know.
How old is the boiler?
Look at the code.
I'd have to look. The boiler was put in before me.
Oh, Jesus, really old.
No,
So,
no, before I started here.
all right, so, and you've been here how many years?
23.
So my all right, so my thought process is here now.
We need a new boiler.
Should we be thinking about a new boiler and burying a propane tank out in the yard? Instead of trying to keep oil tanks in here, put it out in the yard.
That would be something to look into.
That's something else.
I'm thinking
So where
instead
who do I address
Who's the
that to?
vendor?
An oil tank?
of Irving would be the vendor for the
So, I mean, you
propane.
could ask them as our vendor.
Irving's our propane and our.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, they also do have an installation. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you may
I'm
ask them
just-
and see what it could get, start there as a cost and then put it out.
I'm just thinking at 23 plus years old, the boiler.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on borrowed time, but it's not no young spring chicken. For a
I'll
boiler.
verify the date. I mean, I was part-time 23 years ago. I wasn't here every day.
How
but-
efficient, it may be.
I mean,
Well,
I
that's
can
the other thing,
verify
too.
how old, we can verify how
When was
old it
the-
is.
When was the last time, who serviced it the last?
Irving does our,
Servicing too?
But I'm-
They should know how old it is.
Right.
Do a test.
But I'm just thinking, if it's that old, I mean, are we gonna put a bunch of money into putting oil tanks in that, obviously propane's more efficient, and we've already got that converted over to propane, over at the town hall. The safety complex is propane. The only one that's really left is East Ware Fire Station is still oil.
Yeah,
But
Southware's got propane.
Southware's propane.
Safety complex is propane.
Yeah, Stone Building's propane. What's the library?
That's oil, I think, isn't it?
We just put a new boiler in there not too long ago too.
Thought that was a hot water.
I thought you did hot water. I don't remember.
I don't know, but anyways, I mean, we have enough propane where I think it'd be viable to ask the question about burying a 500.
I'll see how
out
old
here.
it is and see what we can.
Yeah,
Yeah, talk
I mean,
to-
obviously, we're not gonna get credit
talk to
for it, but,
everything, they get the records.
but I'd rather be a little proactive on that
Okay.
than
What about
putting tanks in.
asking if it's not the wall and the ceilings, what about the shed out there?
Well, I
Doghouse?
thought he had said no to that too.
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask.
We can ask again.
Doghouse.
Things may change. Yeah. Yeah, put them both out there for him. See what he says.
Okay.
I think we'd save heat. I think we'd save money.
Okay.
No?
Oh, yeah.
And the water pours in there when it rains.
Right.
Now, what is there? Just a staircase?
Yeah.
Just open the door and you go down.
Yeah.
Down a set of stairs.
Is that a second means of egress for that place?
You have to.
If you do
It would be if
anything,
you were in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nobody in the basement.
All right. Well, I mean, you got the stairway at the front, and then you got the old PD entrance. That's unlockable from the inside, correct?
Yeah.
That's the back,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
just go
Yeah.
crash bar.
You got the
Oh, you're
back.
saying two egress,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Would it be better off just to cap it off and demolish it, rebuild it?
Well, I do know when they take the trash out and put it right around the corner, it's right there versus all the way around, I think. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just thinking, like you
Wait,
said,
like
for
you,
heat.
yeah.
For
Well,
heat,
yeah,
I'm
you
just
could
kinda
take
looking at it, it just kinda looks out there, it's not really doing anything.
That's where the mice come in.
Well, there you go, like I said, cap the wall off.
And we're not-
Put,
and
and
they're
put a
not paying
door
rent.
here. You could put a door back here.
Well, I don't see what, I mean, I just don't know.
No, I mean, I think it does need some
Or
TLC.
if there's already stairs, is it concrete stairs, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well then, just put handrails to it, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if we need the whole house there or not.
Well,
It's
Well,
just-
you're gonna have water running and if you
you're
take the
gonna still
house
have water
down.
running if you take the house out of it, so I
Yeah.
mean, it's.
You also need a
rebuild
gutter
it.
away from it,
Yeah.
Okay.
which has
Well-
been a
But
suggestion
I mean,
too.
just if you use it in the wintertime, it could freeze up and then you turn around and.
There's been some discussion about that, we had all that tremendous rain and asked if we were gonna put rain gutters on the building, cause evidently it flows in some of the doors at the safety complex.
Oh, at the complex?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh. Well, I think that, well,
Well, I think you need to fix the roof first, and
Yeah.
then worry about your
You worry,
gutters.
yeah, put the gutters on it.
Cause it's kind of a, it's different, you don't always get that beating driving
no,
rain.
no, not
Just like that
always.
one day the roof was.
Yeah.
And I might have to confess, the roof, the other day we came in during that sweaty, humid time, you'd swear we washed the floor upstairs. There was humidity in here.
Wow.
As soon as you turned the air on, the floor dried. So I'm wondering if I don't have a roof leak. I wonder if I just,
Have humidity.
floors.
Condensation.
cause if I'm gone for a few days,
Insulation,
no, if I'm gone for a few days and I had the windows open when we left for the weekend and it was terribly hot, I came in, I'm like, wow, somebody mopped my floor.
Wow.
I was like, wow, but I turned the AC on and it was like instantly dried after like an hour or
Yeah,
so.
it's a yeah,
So I
from
think
the
it's just
humidity.
from the humidity.
Yeah.
It may not be leaking after all, cause we haven't seen it leaking after that one day of driving rain, so I think the wet floor is really part of
Okay.
condensation or humidity.
Yeah, the humidity.
Alright.
Cause we haven't had a leak, even in that last batch of really driving rain, we didn't have a leak,
Okay,
so.
alright,
Do you wanna talk of the gazebo or the food pantry?
both. Let's talk about the gazebo first.
Okay,
I mean, we got a letter from the Historical Society asking us to table, any demo work on it, till what, October 1st? So they can come up with a plan. I mean, I'm for myself, I'm for waiting, I guess. I gotta get over and look at it, I'm off this week, so I can go take a look at it. If what Tom says is true, and it's really not that bad, maybe we do hold off until they can come up with a plan. But again, I mean, I've heard it from one individual on the outside, and that individual doesn't wanna put town money into that building. As far as we have other fish to fry in other buildings, you know, bigger tokens, it's not mission critical, as that individual stated. But, you know, we did spend the money to have Team come out and look at it. They obviously weren't flattered by it, and they gave us some estimates on what to do for I'm not saying estimates, but ideas on how to shore up the bottom of it.
We do have an estimate.
We do have a couple of estimates that we did receive to repair,
Two
B,
different-
replace.
Two different ways of doing it, which
But
is
two different
kinda
ways of doing it,
Yeah.
right? And, I mean, honestly, it has to be picked up, moved over, complete new foundation done. Probably when they pick it up, they're gonna find rot underneath of it, guarantee it. And then where are we gonna be? We're gonna be throwing good money at bad if we try and repair what we have, with the exception of maybe the roof section. Might be able to take it off the top of the beams and salvage the top. But even then, that's still 30 years old. So I don't know, I mean, if the Historical Society can come up with, like, with that letter that they drafted, if they have funding methods and they have, you know, all these ideas that they wanna share with us, I'm 100% for that. But the moment that over there, the problem is, it's in a unique spot, and it is in the center of town, it is a town staple, but it's in the school's eye shot. You know, as an individual stated prior to the meeting, is what's kind of unique about it is the fact that, you know, if the kids want to come out of school and go get a candy bar and a soda and come back across the street, it's right there, they're gonna hang out and play on it. You don't have that in neighboring towns, theirs are kind of away from the schools. So, yeah, it's gonna get more kid traffic than others. And, you know, as soon as it becomes a safety item, it needs to be shut down and/or fenced off and/or removed. If it's not a safety item at this point in time, then I say we leave it, but.
Who's to say whether it is or isn't a safety issue, but I mean, the thing is that, like you said, the kids go over there, and I stood here one day, looked out the window and watched them jumping up and down on the railings. Balusters of the pieces between,
Right.
have been kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some posts that are rotted, okay? There's only two,
Well,
But
I
how-
don't know about that. I'd have to look at it.
but I mean, they're punky and rotted, and some of them were. I mean, I looked at
I know
it
that
2
couple-
years ago.
Yeah.
And it was in tough straits, and I believe Chip has been up into the attic, and the roof isn't, the upper structure isn't exactly in the greatest of shape. If I
Right.
remember his report from about, 2 years ago. You know, I wanna leave it, that's fine, but I mean, you gotta do something, because it's gonna progress,
Right.
you know, it's gonna get progressively worse. So we have to make a decision what way to go. The repair estimates we got are more than if you tore it down and built a new one. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
that's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think if we're gonna rebuild it, have the contractor build it out of something that's a lot more, you know, with a better foundation, not cinder
Right.
blocks and red brick holding it
Oh,
up.
absolutely.
And not, you know, not using regular lumber.
Oh,
either
absolutely.
Pressure treated or
that-
tech wood,
That tech wood, right.
plastic stuff. And it's,
But again, it all costs money, and
It
I
does.
mean, I personally don't wanna see good money put at something that's still, you know, could fall down within the next few months.
don't
Because the
either.
two posts are gonna, you know, one post is junk, the other one
I
gives
mean,
way, and
you gotta count how many you get there, what's the structural strength,
Mhm.
what's, you know, so
Right.
again, I mean, you could have team come up and look at it and tell us, but
yeah, I don't wanna,
Yeah.
I don't think.
No,
don't need
very-
that.
Well, we've already gotten that report, I mean,
Right.
and there are a lot of structural
I
issues,
mean,
but I
if you
think,
stick a screwdriver in the post, you don't need ten
I don't-
engineering
I
to
don't
come up
think
here
we
and tell
need
you it's
to-
rotten.
I don't think we need to keep putting, like you said, good money after it, because
No,
there's a Band-Aid,
right, so,
have
I'm-
to peel it off.
Well, let them look at it.
I myself am with the Historical Society, if they wanna put, you know, if they wanna put funding up for it in some fashion or form, I'm fine with letting it sit till October 1st. But that would require you rescinding your motion and just changing the date.
There wasn't really a date, it just said before winter.
Well, they put a date on
No.
theirs, that's why I'm saying.
Well,
No,
I just have
yeah.
to say the date of the letters is not correct
Right, I
either.
The
know.
date
Correct.
of the letter isn't
The
correct.
date
I have it circled with a
Yeah.
question
Yeah,
mark.
that's
because we met on July 16th and it was
Right.
shortly after that, so I'm guessing it's July
It's the third
19th.
Wednesday of the month,
Yeah.
or whatever that was.
July. Yeah, so, I mean, I just, cause I was looking at the date thinking, how in God's
No,
earth could you
no.
make that much? It's, the 18th would be the third Wednesday, the
Yeah.
19th would have been, so I bet July 9th the letter was drafted.
They're off a month.
Which mistakes happen, I get it.
Yep.
But, you know, again, I'm for letting it, but on the other side of it too is I think that we need to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, somebody gets hurt, we're gonna get.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not really school property yet. When I come
No.
through town, I see school kids all over that
But how
whole
are you go-
section.
How are you gonna police it?
But that, and that's just it.
And that's the thing, but the thing is, you know, and here's the other issue,
Well,
we
I-
know there's a problem there, we know there's an issue there.
Right.
And if we don't address it, and some one of those kids go over there and get hurt, we're opening ourselves up.
Can't you send a letter to the,
Boys and Girls Club?
Or
Good
send it
luck.
to the school, period.
send it right to the school, to the
Have to
principal
send
over
it to
there.
all.
When you say Boys and Girls Club, what is it, Manchester Boys and Girls? or
It's a
what?
it's some summer program they're
Yes,
having
well,
over there.
they do the after-school program over
Oh, they
there
are doing it now?
And, some of them are there and some of them go on field trips,
Mhm.
so, but the thing is that, are they all with the Boys and Girls Club, are they all just kids that are going through there, there's a whole, you don't know.
No,
So, I mean, you can notify the school, notify the Boys and Girls Club, but the school's gonna have to be notified for another couple of weeks, they're gonna be there.
They're gonna be back there.
and the school's probably gonna come back and say, well, it's not our property.
Property,
we have to
but it's
prepare it.
like-
We have-
And we're gonna get the same thing as what they do
Well,
is
they-
over the, skateboard park, cause, oh yeah, well, and that was the issue, they said, well, it's not ours, well, it's on your property. I mean, technically, that's within we didn't subdivide that small area to just say, but I know, they don't wanna take the responsibility for it, and I understand some of that, but the thing is, if the kids are outside playing, they're using it, they gotta
They
accept
got
some
plenty,
responsibility
they got
for
plenty
it.
of room out behind the school, let me use
Right.
that.
So, I mean, again, it's up to the board. We've heard some comment from the public and, you know, but again, it's gonna require that motion be rescinded and let the Historical Society do something with it if they'd like to, but again, so, here we are.
You truly feel like you should rescind it, even though it said before winter?
I think we
Yes,
I
because
think,
it's a standing order right now, as far as I'm
Well-
concerned. If they get an extra 20 minutes to go knock it over, that's what they got.
Well, I've
Well,
talked to him and asked him to wait.
Wait.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I've talked to DPW director and just kind of,
Okay.
until I
So you
said,
get back
you know,
It's
I
the
told him we
wintertime.
had, I told him we had a letter.
Mhm.
I told him we would discuss it,
If he'd
so
go with holding off until the end of the letter term, then that's fine, we won't
Yeah.
rescind it, but.
if that's what you want me to have him do, I can
Yeah,
be happy
I
to do
would-
that.
I mean, but again, that's the board's decision.
Well, the thing is, we gotta put a time frame on it because we can't let it drag on and on and on and on.
I think they said,
Uh,
well,
I think
October?
it's- You know, they got a time frame right there, October first.
Yeah,
If they haven't come up with
And
it,
I'll go over
October
and take a
first,
look at
October
that
second,
to
it's down.
see.
Is that when the meeting is, October first?
It just says we respectfully request that the proposed raising be deferred until October first,
got
by
week-
which date we
you'll
will
have
have a
2 meetings.
proposal to present to you.
Don't
No,
have
no,
to-
no, no. Okay, so when's our meeting?
Oh, we're back to,
We'll be back weekly at that point.
October first is a Monday night, so
So
October first, it would be put on the agenda
Put
There
then
you
for
go,
that.
so,
yeah.
yeah,
They may
put
come
it on
in
the
before
agenda,
that.
and that's fine, but they'll call that the date,
yeah, okay,
so,
that's fine.
that work for the board?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm on a historical society, so I don't think I can vote.
I am, I'm not, I'm not gonna, I mean, it doesn't matter.
I mean, if
All
you
the-
three
they're not-
agree to do
We're
that.
not
that's-
voting, they're just saying that they're gonna,
No,
We'll-
I
we'll
agree
extend it to
with
the first.
doing it.
We'll
but
extend it to
I
the
think
first.
they're
they're
just
gonna-
extending
yeah.
it, we're not voting on it.
But, again, this has been an ongoing problem for the last 3 years. I mean, Tom stated that, you know, we visited there because we had a problem and we had quotes from 3 years ago and, you know,
I'm like Tom, though, that it's an unfortunate thing. It is the one thing that kind of symbolizes it
The center of town.
being the center of town, you know, and
No.
Weare doesn't really have a center of town. It is this,
oh, and I agree, but on the other
Years
side of it
ago,
too, is we
there
gotta
used to
look
be a
at the
house sitting
town's,
there.
the town's liability.
what's that?
They-
There used to be,
There was a
yeah.
house sitting there, I was there the day it burned,
Yeah.
and,
I called that in, like it was coming
I-
through from work.
I come by it,
And then I saw Esther height, I said, Esther, sound the alarm.
And,
House was burning across.
And the poor person that was buying it had a deposit on it. Pulled up and lost the property.
But again, we gotta consider, you know, where to draw the line with the town's liability
Yep.
and that, so,
I think if we send a letter over to the school explaining that it's
yeah,
not a playground,
right.
and that we would respectfully ask that the
If we-
after-school program and the program that's currently going on in the summer
Yep.
refrain from using it.
Yeah, if we can, yeah, absolutely. Any help is good help, so.
That's
And,
it.
and maybe even ask the police department, just when they're going through, to take notice, and if there's a bunch of kids in that area, just say, you know, this is
Screw
a
out.
playground,
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that was a gazebo.
okay?
Okay.
Food pantry.
Yeah,
Food
the
pantry.
pantry. She said that they're not gonna be able to stay where they're at, so,
They do have an option. Go ahead.
oh, okay, I don't know.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I said, I don't know if there's any property that's gonna be coming up for auction that would work for you guys or not. I said we'd have to discuss it at board level, otherwise than that, I said, I really don't know.
Okay, because I met with them last week, and I met with them twice. Okay, same expression of, you know, where are we gonna go? Where we are is not conducive. Where we are is really get some building issues. They have found a spot in town. The rent is much steeper than they're paying.
Oh, wow.
They've approached to see, right now there's 68 families on a monthly basis that they feed. That's not including Thanksgiving, Christmas baskets, or anything like that. So they're seeing 68 families. So if the food pantry ends up coming back here to the town office in the basement, that's, but the
That's not the
thrift
impact.
part, well, you can get that way. We'd have to build a wedge to get down to the basement, because the elevator does go down. But the thrift part of it is never happening here. It's not gonna be doing that.
Do they need that, though, if they have a spot?
Well,
don't have
they're
to
looking at a spot, and I'm just not being invasive because I haven't talked to the owner yet. They have talked to the owner, and the owner's looking for $1,800 a month. It's needs a little bit of work to build an office space for them, but I don't know if is 18 the answer, if we could work with 18, but the discussion where we were headed is that something that could be budgeted. And the reason I say that is they would pay for the lights, the heat, the electricity, the insurance, and everything else. I have worked a little bit with Terry Knowles to see, because they truly are a 501c3,
Right, yeah,
to see if there's any way of any grants. I've signed up for a couple of different grants through the food bank to see if there's any help. But the situation is now, kind of. So I've also talked to the trustees to see if there's any trustee money that we could do to do some renovating. Where they would go is a fairly newer building, very nice building. What the thought was is if we, can you feed 68 families a month on $1,800? Because if the food pantry goes away, you're gonna be writing vouchers. So that's something you weigh, right? Because you get a responsibility to feed the 68 families from Weare that are taking advantage, or not, I don't mean by advantage at all.
Are any of these people on food stamps or anything? that they can-
Well, there's some people that make too much for food stamps. They're called working poor, that have kids and just can't, there's not enough food by the time they pay their bills.
probably pretty small.
I mean, so do we want to take that here and then they call it quits? Do you want to write vouchers? Do you want to see if we can negotiate? I'm willing to do something.
They're paying, well, I think about, what, 12 down there now?
I only thought they were paying less than 1,000.
I thought I heard like 950 or something.
Yeah, Yeah, see, I thought it was about $950.
So why couldn't they pay a portion of the,
Well, the thought was for the first few months because the renovation that would happen. And I think the place is large enough that they could probably, because right now they don't have the room to do the thrift part of it.
no,
They're confined to space. You see them bringing it out on the lawn and taking it back in, bringing it out, taking it
every
back.
day, that
Covering it
way.
up with plastic, trying to keep it good, because if it gets wet, it's junk.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the answer is, but I'd like to reach out to the owner and see if there's a way of doing it, but at the same time, if there's, if there's a way to get moved in and then they all of a sudden, geez, we can do more, then we pay less, kind of a thing. I just don't know how to work all that without talking myself to the owner. But it's in town.
See what they do. I mean, if they're paying, say, $9.50 for you to run down at the other place, I mean, that's about half.
Mm.
Rent
A little
would be if-
over half.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little over half, so I mean, if they can continue.
Well, there's gonna have to be some renovations.
Yeah.
The other thing is
I think
group,
them
the group
getting-
that's running it now. I mean, I'm not asking, they're not asking, but there's a lot of clothes down there. And what happens is when they drop the clothes off, the volunteers are taking them to their home, which is washing, drying, cleaning, ironing them, bringing them back, and that's an expense that they're doing. The thought was, and the owner's okay with it, is to buy a washer and dryer and do it all there. And they're okay with that.
I think that they're gonna have to be proactive in some of this information themselves.
Oh, they are. We're
Yeah.
kind of meeting weekly
Yeah.
to see what we can
And
do.
see what we can do to help.
And trying to make, process. I mean, I've applied to get notification for grants, but if there isn't any, and then if there's something comes up, I'd get an email. Because I'm trying to work with them, but I just don't know. So it's either they call it quits, then the 68 families you write vouchers for.
Yeah, we're gonna start the welfare rules and then stuff.
Well, there's room here to put the food in the basement. We'd have to do some renovating, but would be here in that corner, that in that corner, that in that corner.
kind of a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't all separated downstairs before. That was all one room, wasn't it?
Food was in
Well,
that back
yeah, the
room,
food was in the back room, but that's really
No,
must.
yeah, I meant on this side, the food side.
No, I'll just say when I was downstairs, that's what it was. It was broken up, because if you remember, it was the old PD.
You're right.
So when you first came in, the jail cell's there, and then
Right.
there was always the room ahead, there was always the room to the left, and there was always the big room to the right. That hasn't changed any, but right now, I'll be honest with you, the room to the right so we just need to back a dump truck up to the door, because everything that gets broke gets put on a table down there, and you had a clean house. It's time to spring clean, because there's a lot of room down there, but there's a lot of stuff that if it's broken, why do we hang on to it?
But see, if I recall, because the PD put those walls up,
Okay.
Are those
because
just petitioned walls?
Yeah, a lot of
they
those
have
small
to be,
walls.
because it was a gym.
Yeah, that was
Where the gym was.
Oh, no, I've heard that. I never.
So that was, I think, all one room.
Yeah,
Do you know?
it's filled in.
It's filled
What do you
in.
mean
That's,
The gym's filled in.
It's
The gym
short.
was below ground level.
Yeah.
Oh,
Substantially below ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You used to play basketball down there.
you had enough height to play ball.
Yeah.
Yep. There's some pictures of it somewhere.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
So I think we need to just, I think we need to work with them. I don't think there's
No,
anything that you're
I would
looking
agree.
to,
Hmm?
I don't think there's any I tried to go through the list of what might be auctioned off to see if there's something conducive there, but then you're starting from scratch with a building and I don't
I
know
think- I
that
think
that's,
yeah, I think we've
that's a
already been-
fundraiser
we've
project.
We've already tried to be down there.
once.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's
So-
Yeah.
not viable at this option. I think that's probably their best option.
so
Maybe-
meeting again,
maybe
we're
the
meeting again
property-
Wednesday.
Maybe the property owner would be.
Well, that's what I mean. I haven't honestly talked to her, but I will to see what the
Yeah, we
thoughts
will.
are, or
Yeah,
you know.
they might flex.
Yeah, they might flex, they may,
even if they
it's a
knock
tax,
a few hundred or-
tax write-off.
Yeah.
Some of it could be.
Yeah.
Some of it could be for.
And that's something you could, I don't wanna say, hinge it on, but
Mm-hmm.
put
Yeah.
it out.
Well, we could have that discussion and see what the intent is or what the thought is. I mean, I haven't done that yet, but Yeah, I know things are just, needs to be out.
Yep, that's fine.
But I think we also have an obligation.
Oh, we do,
So-
we do, as.
So if you don't have a pantry, a lot of towns don't, if you don't have a pantry, you just write vouchers to the grocery store, because you have an obligation. If they truly qualify, if their income is this level, there's 5 people in the household, you know,
Much.
you get this much food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
so,
over the state.
yeah, it's not an easy, because the price of food's gone up too, so what you get for your money is not,
It's
not much.
yeah, it's not much. So,
They have to move, you said they were losing, is it
Yeah.
a matter of they have to move?
They
or
don't have to move, but it's, absolutely, I guess, but there's a lot of issues with the
Yeah.
building.
Okay,
There's
Yeah.
a lot of issues with the
Alright.
building, and
Yeah,
it's
it's an old
getting
building.
harder and harder to use.
okay.
Plus, they're very limited, they don't
And
really
they've
have
they've
enough
outgrown
space to
it.
begin with.
They've way
it's
outgrown
small,
it.
it's not handicap accessible,
I-
so when
yeah.
people come in, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not great.
So, I mean, we can continue the conversation, I'll keep you up to date, I'll put it
Okay.
back on here,
Yeah,
because we
please.
have started that
Yes.
conversation.
Yes, please.
But I don't know come budget season, you know, because even I explained that if we were to come to an agreement that we could take care of some of it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
of the rent. I mean, you think about what you have in the total line, and if you took the rent, that would take away all your assistance.
Right, we can't.
You know what
do
I'm
that.
saying?
Can't
And
do
so it
that,
would have to be an
probably.
increase, or you put a warrant article on that
That supports.
that supports the rental.
Part of it,
Yeah.
or part of it at
So
least.
we'll have to have that discussion, but that's a ways from now.
Yeah, it
It
is.
doesn't help today.
That's not today's solution, though.
Yeah. So we can continue that. I
Yep,
mean, so we
definitely.
we've had to have conversations and
Mm-hmm.
working towards something or trying to come up with something. At the end of the evening, can I have a non-public?
Yep, see? Hey, see, full.
What's compensation and what's reputation?
Reputation's C. Compensation's A.
Let's do A and C, please.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Okay. Correspondence, other business.
Did you have anything?
I do have a couple things. Anybody else?
No.
Just something I wanna mention.
Go ahead.
Is basically to you and Sherry. Nothing bad, but I feel that you should not vote on fire department stuff. And Sherry, being her son-in-law is DPW director, she should not be voting on anything to do with DPW. It's not illegal, it's just ethically, it should not be done. I mean, I didn't last year when I was in here, my wife never did it, it's just, you know, just food for thought, that's all.
Let me ask you this. Show me to run it by somebody and ask that question. Should I ask town council that question?
Can?
Yeah, I know, I just say, I know when we were doing, when we voted on the ambulance, the ambulance money, no, ladder truck money,
Electric money.
that it was mentioned before the vote was taken, and I think that's probably why he abstained, but, you know, I guess, yeah, I see your point, I just don't know if it's really,
It's
if
just like
it's,
me signing the payables and whatnot.
Yep, no,
My
I-
brother's got a check in here, I
Yeah.
won't sign it.
Yep.
It's not ethical,
okay.
I'll check
in
it
my
out,
opinion.
whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
But on the other side of it too, I mean, we accept checks from the town and we sign the manifest. I mean, I collect a paycheck from the fire department, am I not supposed to sign that
and you all collect
manifest?
your own paychecks.
I just,
We all sign our own
John,
paychecks, so-
I understand what you're saying, I just don't know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
Where to draw that line in the sand. I mean, if we were going to go, you know, if the chief came in here, my opinion again, if the chief came in here and said, I'm gonna buy an officer's car, I would abstain from that because I'm an officer. You know, something that's gonna directly impact me that close, I would definitely abstain. You know, but again, where do you draw the line? I mean, that, because, you know, I understand what you're saying, you know.
Yeah, let's not.
But it's work performed that, you know, that he's already done. You know, if it was let's hire Oz to do something, that'd be a direct conflict of interest.
Okay.
You know, if you
All right,
voted
thank you.
yes.
Thanks,
But
Joyce.
something else other than that, I just don't know where to draw the line. You know, And I don't know how much, you know, other than maybe at the dinner table on Saturdays, if they talk, if Sherry and Benji
I
talk.
don't talk to them, we
You
don't
know.
talk,
It
I've
just
left that
benefits
right
her
off the table,
son-in-law
because
and
I
her
don't get
daughter.
involved.
Anything she votes on, because he's director of public works,
Right.
it benefits,
In a compensation gig, yes.
yes.
Yeah, but if it's something to do with a project that he brings forward, or the construction,
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
know,
affect it.
that doesn't affect anything. So I understand, absolutely. I'm just wondering where the line in the sand is drawn. You know, and I mean, I drove, you know, I wanna say my campaign, but in the, you know, in the Meet the Candidates night, I mean, it was very obvious that I was on the fire department. I made it well known. You know, and I think that if there was gonna be issues with me voting to support the fire department in a negative way, I think that the voters would not vote me in. You know, so I mean,
And I
I
agree with your analogy.
I understand where you're going with that, but again, so if it was something that directly affected me, and I have abstained before in something previous to the ladder truck money, because it directly affected me, and I did abstain. So I think it's a fine line to run. I agree. But again, I just don't know where to draw the line.
I mean, I think if Sherry came in here and said, you know, I think Benji ought to have a raise. I make a
That's-
motion for
I'm not
Benji to have a
gonna do
raise,
that.
you know what I'm saying?
That would
That I
be
think
way
is definitely, you know
complicated,
what
right?
but I don't,
Right, or if, like I said, if we were gonna have Osmo the side of the roads or something like that, that'd
Yeah.
be a conflict of interest.
yeah. I think,
I know when my wife was on the select board, I worked for the DPW. She abstained on everything, anything at all that came in and followed the DPW.
Yeah.
Because she just felt that I worked there and she shouldn't be voting.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Just thought I'd bring it up.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
Any other correspondence? Other business? All right, a couple things. I did receive an email from a resident at the bottom of River Road about truck traffic. And I did reply to that individual, and I copied the board on my reply. I'm sure you guys all read it. If there was any differences of opinion between mine, what I replied, and the board, I'd like to hear it. But otherwise, I think that there's, you know, again, I think there's businesses in town. I think they have the right to run the road exactly the same as everybody else. You know, I guess, you know, and there's no other way for them to get out other than North Weare or South Weare, unless you want to run across Colby.
I understand that, but are there businesses on that road that have a certain working times?
I know that one starts at 7, I believe, and the other one I don't know. I don't know if it's actually, if there's posted times, because I think it's unmanned.
Well, I think like Tebow's Pit is 8 to 5. I read that recently.
I think it's unmanned.
What's that mean?
There's nobody there. There's a loader there, and the driver self-load. So
Okay.
I don't think it's per se that
But
it's
do
office
all the
hours.
pits have,
Some of the pits.
No, some of them have attendants and, you know,
They have,
office
they have
personnel.
scale house attendants.
Right,
you
but
know,
I think
loaders.
that particular one, I think is unmanned, just a loader down there with a hidden key, and the drivers load themselves and off they go. So I think at that point, I think it's fair game to anybody to start at 5 o'clock, try and beat the Boston traffic if that's where they're going, or, you know. The other thing is too, is, I mean, this is, you know, there's a business right around the corner, and, I mean, I know that they start early too. And I don't know if they may have posted office hours, but their business is primarily on the road at sites, the job sites. So we gotta leave the facility to get to the job site. So, you know, to say there's an ordinance, I don't believe that there is, as far as, you know, when these, business people of any sort and shape can travel the roads, and, that's just my 2 cents on that. But I don't know if the board was gonna feel any different, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
I mean, it's one thing to have an ordinance, and I've been in towns and cities where they have ordinances that you can't start equipment or start working outside of your established area until 7 o'clock. But when you're in a situation as a gravel operation, you're also, there's another company in one of those operations, they leave sometimes at 3 in the morning to make deliveries all over northern New England. You can't restrict them to that, because now you're interfering with their ability to make money. You're interfering with commerce, and that could open up a can of worms. you know, for them to go up and down the road, then okay, you can't let trucks go up and down the road, but you're gonna stop letting traffic go up and down the road, period, because it's getting, it somewhat gets discriminatory. I know that, there's been an issue because sitting on the planning board over development down in the south end of town, they've done a traffic study, because they come out and go up, and I know, traffic isn't anything, according to the study, not really phenomenal. I haven't seen the exact numbers, but nothing that's really drastic. The biggest problem at South Weare and that area is the intersection. And that's a bad intersection, no question about it. They can't go down straight through New Boston and out into Goffstown because it's posted no through trucking. So there's only one way to go.
I think the person that wrote the email lives right on 114 coming up Riverdale Road. If you were to come out of the North Weare and take a left and get out to 114, it's one of those
Well, it's
places
the one
right
right
there.
On the corner of 114.
That's where I took the address being.
Okay.
And yes, I mean, they've done a
So it
traffic
wasn't on
study.
River
It's right
Road.
across from just like Mom's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
and they've done a traffic study. They just had an engineer that, the gentleman that's doing the subdivision paid for a traffic study down there. And I know there's issues with that, but I know they're also complaining about that development, that industrial park there, that, you know, Granite State Plumbing comes and goes out of there. And that there's a crane company. Well, yeah, they leave at 4 in the morning, because sometimes they gotta get a truck crane to a job at a certain time. So I think it's a fine line to walk, but, you know, it's a short distance, and I don't think that's.
And, you know, the other thing is too, is, I mean, they're paying their taxes as well.
Yeah.
You know,
That's, I
even
think
if they're
we have
paying
to
rent,
kinda,
they're paying
you have to
taxes.
kinda walk a fine line, and I don't know what the answer is to it.
I don't
We
either.
have to be careful that
But-
we can't, you know, we can't restrict it.
Right, I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, and I'll add, because I take most of the conversations, but I'm not sure where this whole 7 o'clock, can't be on the road by 7 o'clock thing came from.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can be honest with you that it was probably part of a gravel operation years ago, but the gravel operation that is the one that's accused of the most doesn't have that because he's grandfathered.
Right.
He does it as a good neighbor and a good resident, but he doesn't have to. I mean, the fuel trucks, the fire trucks, the plow trucks, everybody's on the road all hours of the night.
Yeah,
You know, if you need fuel, you need to get a fire, you get fire trucks going. I
Yeah.
mean, I just, cause it's not just that area. There's been discussion back on the B&B Lane project. There's a whole discussion about not supposed to be on Gould Road, but, you know, can't run from 7 to 5. Or before 7 and after 5. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
The 7 to 5 came from, what I can figure out, is tied to a gravel
There was
operation
one,
in a
I know years
certain.
ago, it was 7 to 5. I know it was.
The
but
gravel
I can't
operations
I
were.
can't remember.
But you have 3 gravel operations that are grandfathered, so they don't have to have a permit. The one that Jan mentioned earlier is 7 to 5, and
It's 8.
he 8 to 5. He has a permit, but the others don't have a permit per se. It's just to try to be a good neighbor.
I think the one on 8 to 5 on Gould Road wasn't for B&B Lane.
No,
It was
no,
for-
the
No,
Gould
no, no,
Road
8
is
to 5 is River Road.
the
No, okay,
There-
but I
it
know
well,
that's the
the bluff
pit
part.
down there, I mean,
Yeah.
that wasn't
that was done in the
pit.
80s.
The other pit was further up, there's houses there now.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know where
I don't
7
either.
to 5 came from. I will say 7 to 5 was talked about with the gravels, but there really is only one, and like you guys just said, it's 8 to 5. You know, I do know people do pull out of early if they're going like up north to get to a job 4 hours away. They do leave early.
Yeah.
But anybody,
Starts work at 6.
right, so anybody in a
The
commuter,
other company, Austin Powder, they leave at all hours of the day and night. I mean, I've gotten deliveries from them at 4:45 in the morning in Maine, and they left at 3. They actually, no, they left at 2 o'clock, 2:30 to get there.
Right.
And I mean, I'm getting them at 4:45.
Right.
so I don't know there's an
So-
easy answer.
I don't think that there is. I really don't think that there
Um,
is. but I just wanted to bring it up for discussion, because I mentioned that I would.
Yeah, I mean, because the truck traffic is loosely defined, because, like I said, you can have a plow truck, you can have a gas truck, you can have a fuel truck.
You know, and making,
You know.
and making River Road no through trucks doesn't make any sense anyways, because they're both facilities are halfway through, so they're not.
But it's your only connecting road on 114 either.
Right, and they're not driving
Yeah.
through,
If
so.
they're not
Yeah,
going
I
down
mean,
River Road, they're gonna
they've
be
already
going
done
up
the
to
River Road back
Weare.
through Goffstown.
Or through Colby,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't only want them on Colby either, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then the other piece is that, over the weekend, I was in Michigan with the police chief in Grand Rapids at the CALIA convention, and we are now accredited again. Officially, the board made their decision. Very eye-opening experience to be out there. I know that you know, that the chief stands at the podium and says, you know, his piece about it. But it's very eye-opening when you're surrounded by the agencies that are being accredited, have gone through the process, shared the same blood, sweat, and tears that our agency has shared to get that accreditation, and dealing with the different trials and tribulations that they all have. For instance, there was one department in Louisiana, it was a parish, and the sheriff started his tenure with a $5 million deficit and couldn't make payroll the next week. And he turned that around to come back and has a $10 million surplus now. So listening to that makes, you know, some of our issues not sound so big. The other one is they also do, I did not know this, they do dispatch centers, they also do campuses, school campuses, safety and police. And in Arkansas, they have a law that to be a campus officer, you have to have served 2 years in law enforcement already. And they're having extreme trouble in drawing into the campus and having 2 years experience to come onto the force. So, like I said, there is, you know, trials and tribulations out there for other departments to meet this. Also, Mexico and Canada were also involved in this. They have a couple of accredited departments. But to see, you know, the bar that our town has reached and our police department has reached is very impressive. When you see, like I said, what the other departments have to do size-wise, what we do with our 11 officers is very impressive. Again, when you get into a place where you can kind of see the whole picture and open your eyes to what we do. So, very, very interesting conference. And again, I want to thank the town for supporting the CALIA process and supporting the chief and I going out there. So.
No, you were in with so Weare was in a group with.
Yep, there's 4 subcommittees, 4 subcommittee boards that review the each department and or agency, I should say, and there was about 20 to 25 agencies per subcommittee. And then at the grand, well, I say the dinner, at the end, all 4 subcommittees come together as a full committee and make the official motion to accept all the accreditations. And like I said, there was no rhyme or reason or designation of why our groups were together. Like I said, we had a couple of parishes from Louisiana. We had Arkansas. We had
You did have another New Hampshire one though.
one from Florida. Hollis was there on their first. They got accredited for the first time. Biddeford, Maine was there. I think it was their 2nd or 3rd accreditation. Some of them were on their 9th and 10th accreditation cycles.
How often do they have to be?
I believe it's every 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, and not one of them went through that, like I said, because we started at 8 o'clock, and obviously Weare was last alphabetically. So we got to listen to all of them before we went. So it was like 11 o'clock before we got up on the chopping block, and it was like I said, to listen to what they had to go through, and like I said, the adjustments that they had to make in house to meet the standards. You know, it was, you know, and the questions that were asked of us were, you know, looking forward to the hiring process, and as far as trying to hire, you know, more minorities, and You know, the chief's response was that he was looking, because of our demographics, he was looking to, you know, make an impact on trying to find out how to hire more women for our department. So, and then there was another one, they wanted to see traffic studies as far as our traffic stops and the natures of our traffic stops, and that's not something that the state of New Hampshire records, so couldn't really be held against us, but it was something that they recommended that we maybe start. So, like I said, that was ours, but it was, like I said, it was a very eye-opening experience.
So we don't keep a copy of, or a database of traffic stops?
Not, I mean, we do to an extent through our dispatch program, but to the extent that they want, to their standards, we don't.
Okay.
But again, other states have other standards that are higher, a lot higher than ours, as far as, you know, as far as the more specific nature of the traffic incidents that happen, so. But again, it was, you know, and I know that when Chairman Lacasse was here, he had basically the same sentiment when he returned of how eye-opening it is to go out and experience this.
Wow.
So, and like I said, we actually, we spent quite a bit of time with the Princeton University guys, and then they were, and, you know, like I said, they're an agency, I think, I don't remember what the size they are, but a lot of the trials and tribulations we have here, they share the same, so, you know, but.
And they're a university?
Yep, and they're campus police, so.
A lot of campus police.
Yep, and it, like I said, a lot of first timers getting involved in it. Well, I was very surprised in the amount of dispatch centers that had really stepped up. This one agency, I think he said that they did police, fire, and EMS. I want to say for their whole county, I want to say it was upwards of like 80 different agencies that they dispatch for. You know, and they, I think they have 7 dispatchers on at all times. So, you know, again, it was very eye-opening for other.
Even though you had to wear a suit.
There's a street.
Yes, I had to wear a suit and tie, and everybody knows that is not my gig, but I did it. I did it. So
Accreditation way back.
You took one for the team.
I did. I did.
I would have thought
So.
so.
They're accredited on different levels. There's a bunch of standards you have to meet for certain accreditations. Dispatch centers have full service.
Yes. Yep. They have their own set of.
And they're working, I think that's part of the deal now, where they have that IPOC or.
Yeah.
All the
Knee pack and
dispatches
stuff like that.
All the dispatches in one place.
Wow.
In Concord now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they have, traffic management center, which handles nothing but the highways and DOT with the cameras and everything else. Plus it also is in conjunction with state police, which is also marine patrol and all the other stuff, plus, you know, fire marshal's office. So
Right.
they've got a separate radio system,
Yep.
section now. It's moved everything over to the different areas, so.
Okay. So I just wanted to, like I said, fill in the board of that, and we're gonna have a non-public, and then we're going to adjourn.
Just one other thing, we did take possession of the new car today.
Yes.
Oh, I saw
Actually,
that.
it was there last week.
Yeah, I just got an email today that, but
Said-
they, because of it was supposed to be here 2 weeks ago, there's a backlog at OSPI, so it's gonna go to OSPI in September.
Yeah.
So, just, I think you guys all saw that.
He's switching cars.
Hmm?
He's gonna switch cars.
Bring that up.
Yeah, 8, we're still using 8.
7 or something like that, yeah.
Yes. Yep. All right. So I moved to go in non-public under RSA 91A3 Roman numeral 2 A and C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And again, we will be adjourning after this. So thank you.